Hi, thank you for joining us. Today, the Supreme Court affirmed a more than 100-year-old principle that if you're born in the United States, you're a U.S. citizen. In a 6-3 decision, the justices struck down an executive order President Trump signed in January to end birthright citizenship as part of his sweeping crackdown on immigration. All three of the court's left-leaning justices voted against Trump's order, as well as right-leaning justices John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. In the majority opinion, Chief Justice Roberts wrote, quote, "Citizenship then and now was the right to have rights to freely participate in our political community. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land." In his dissenting opinion, Justice Samuel Alito called the decision a serious mistake, adding, quote, "The court's interpretation is not only contrary to the original meaning of the 14th Amendment, it produces grotesque results." President Trump responded on Truth Social, saying the decision is, quote, "too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation." In another decision today, the justices upheld a ban on transgender athletes competing in girls' and women's sports. They also loosened campaign finance restrictions by striking down limits on how much political parties can raise and spend on candidates. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has more.
The U.S. Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, ruled against President Trump's executive order aimed at denying automatic birthright citizenship to children of people in the country illegally or temporarily. 5 of the justices said the policy violated the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which guarantees citizenship. Chief Justice John Roberts, writing, "The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today." Conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote separately, saying he believes the president's order violated federal law. While President Trump called on lawmakers to act, House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledged the limitations.
You got to have 2/3 of both chambers of Congress and 3/4 of the states to ratify. It's usually at least a many years long process and very complicated.
Congressional Democrats applauded the High Court's decision.
Through the 14th Amendment, that I, the daughter of immigrants, could become a citizen by birthright and serve in the halls of Congress.
Justices Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito dissented in the case. Alito called the ruling a serious mistake that encourages birth tourism. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson joins me now on what's been a busy week so far, and it's only Tuesday. So, Jessica, after the oral arguments, we honed in on a crucial sentence in the 14th Amendment. We're going to put it up here. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. It was that subject to the jurisdiction thereof that we parsed out. What did the Chief Justice say about that?
So, as you said, this was the whole ballgame when it came to this particular case and when it came to the justices determining whether or not the president could, by executive order, change our understanding of the birthright citizenship clause. And what we have today is the Chief Justice writing for a majority of the court saying that essentially that doesn't mean what the Trump administration is arguing, that it depends on whether or not you're a citizen of this country, depends on the status of your parents, whether they are here legally or illegally, or whether they're here temporarily or permanently. What the Chief Justice is saying is that nothing about that phrase that you're exactly right to zero in on indicates that we have to look at anything other than, were you born on U.S. soil? We don't ask more about, the status of your parents. The Trump administration had made arguments about whether or not your parents have to be domiciled in the United States and whether that meant that you are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. The court essentially rejected those arguments, saying, again, that our understanding of the 14th Amendment for many, many decades, more than 100 years, is correct.
The president said legislation can change this. Congress. Is that true?
That's not true, because by a vote of 5-4, the court said that the Constitution indicates that President Trump could not change the definition of birthright citizenship. So this means that a statute cannot change that definition either. First day of school, what I talk to my students about is it's the Constitution, then statutes have to comply with the Constitution, executive orders have to comply with the Constitution. Essentially, what a majority of the court is saying, and it was only 5-4 on this point, is that you cannot by statute or executive order or anything else try and change our understanding of the Constitution. There's only two ways you can do this. You can get a court to overturn what the Supreme Court just said today. I don't think that's likely to happen in the near future. Or you can have a constitutional amendment, as we heard Representative Mike Johnson talking about a few moments ago.
The Supreme Court also upheld a ban on transgender athletes in women's sports. So this is now left to the states. Where do you see this going?
So I think likely this will be something that is left to the states when it comes to kind of both sides of this question. So the question for the court today was whether states could prohibit transgender athletes from participating on girls' sports teams. There is a separate question working its way through the courts as to whether states can allow transgender athletes to participate on girls' sports teams. My guess is that the Supreme Court, at least a majority of the court, will leave this question, again, both of those questions, to the states. They have said over and over again that when it comes to these kind of controversial hot button topics, oftentimes they want to leave it to the state to sort out. They don't want to, quote, constitutionalize the question, meaning you're basically not leaving states any leeway.
Okay, Jessica Levinson, thank you.